George Floyd protests continue in the United States. The protests against racism and police brutality, which was sparked by the death of an unarmed African American man, George Floyd, in Minnesota, have continued as relentless protesters face off with security forces. The Committee to Protect Journalists in the U.S. has reported that at least 125 press freedom violations have been reported nationwide by journalists covering the demonstrations since the 29th of May. President Trump has threatened to deploy the military if states fail to contain the protests. The Iranian Foreign Ministry has called on the United States to stop the violence against its own people. Germany's foreign minister has described the protests as understandable and legitimate. Terrence Floyd condemns looting and destruction amid protests. Terrence Floyd, the brother of the late George Floyd, visited the site where his late brother was killed by a police officer and made an emotional appeal to protesters to cease looting and destruction. He condemned the violence, saying that it would not bring his brother back, and asked for the public to engage in peaceful protests. Cyclone approaches India's western coast. Weather experts have noted that heavy rainfall, which will intensify into a storm, will hit the western parts of India by Wednesday afternoon. The storm is expected to reach around the North Maharashtra and South Gujarat coasts. The cyclone will not be as strong as Cyclone Amphan, which caused destruction in the country 3 weeks ago. India has begun evacuating people from low-lying areas in and around Mumbai. Outrage in Israel at killing of autistic Palestinian by Israeli police. Protests erupted in East Jerusalem after the killing of an unarmed autistic Palestinian man by the Israeli police. The victim, Iyad al-Halak, was 32 years old and autistic. He was shot on his way to his special needs school. The Israeli police suspected he was carrying a gun and fired at him after he ran away when ordered to stop. Iyad's family says he would not have understood the instructions to stop. His caregiver stated that she repeatedly warned officers that he was disabled before they opened fire. Hong Kong leader accuses the United States of double standards. In her first public appearance since the United States announced plans to retract Hong Kong's special status, Carrie Lam, the chief executive of Hong Kong, accused the United States of double standards in its response to the George Floyd protests and China's new security bill. In late 2019, the United States was critical of Hong Kong's deployment of security forces and arrests of citizens during pro-democracy protests and riots. Lam warned that the United States' removal of preferential treatment of Hong Kong would hurt both parties' interests. They are very concerned about their own national security, but on our national security, they look through tinted glasses, she said. India government approves antiviral drug for emergency coronavirus treatment. The government of India has approved the use of remdesivir, an antiviral drug from the biopharmaceutical company Gilead Sciences, for emergency use in treating coronavirus patients. Remdesivir is the first drug to show health improvement in coronavirus patients. It has passed through formal clinical trials.